Guys good? All right. Well, welcome. We will call to order the City of Traverse City Council meeting for Thursday, May the 18th. Thanks for everyone for being here tonight. If you'll please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And Councilmember Sherry Mara, if you'll please pray for council.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the rain. We appreciate the time that we have for our police and our fire to be safe throughout the week and help us to get through the rest of this month.
Thank you. All right, it's budget night. So for those of you that are here, this is one of our little longer meetings, but we're glad you're here so you can get properly informed and hear the things. First, we'll start with approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. Do I have a motion to approve our council meeting minutes for April the 20th?
Motion to approve.
All right, Rick Floyd with motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Sherry, all in favor? For that. Citizen participation, we have none. Ordinances for second reading, we have two. We have consideration for recommendations for our sewer system. Do I hear a motion? And Councilmember Chris is not here, but Sherry, do you have a motion for second reading?
A motion for second.
Motion for ordinance 00123. Sherry has a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Nobody on the committee?
There's nobody on the committee, so we.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's fine. All right. So Rick has a second. And then I will open up, I think Sherry has a motion for an amendment related to the septic tank for us to go over.
Correct. These are the three main things that we've decided to amend. Sunset in 6 years or change of the home ownership, reimbursement of pump every 3 years with the amount of $425 of reimbursement. And then to send letters to the 44 homes that are currently in the program as we will do the sunsetting. So that's kind of what the three main things that we were going to adjust.
So as a reminder, we agreed to come back tonight and reevaluate sunsetting the septic tank system. Eric, do you want to add anything else for discussion purposes?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. First, we need a second. Thank you, Grant. We have a second for Sherry's motion for amendment.
I'll second that.
Okay, Grant, we have a second. Open it up for discussion.
If y'all could provide that in writing so we can make sure we get all those.
Great. Great.
Send it to you.
And just for clarification purposes, this is just for the 44 homes that are currently within this program that we already have record of and about. No other homes are to be included in this, just those 44.
So 44, sunset in 6 years or change in ownership. And then they can they'll be reimbursed for a pump out every 3 years. So that takes us out of the middleman of Philip scheduling and following through. They just give us a receipt, $425. Is that what you said, Sherry?
Correct.
Which is what we're currently paying. Further discussion, questions?
How would we make the people aware? Are we planning on sending a letter out to each one of them, contacting them? And
I'm assuming we have addresses. We can send them
We
an
do.
actual letter. Okay.
We can send a letter in the mail to each of the homes, each of the properties.
Else? Okay, we have a motion and a second on the amendment. All in favor? Motion carries. And now we will go back and follow through on our ordinances for second reading with approval of the motion with an amendment. All right, any further discussion on the motion with the amendment? All in favor? Motion carries. And Sherry, if you'll follow through with the writing out of those things for Eric.
I'll send to Eric.
Okay, great. And I would like it on record that I will pay for Harvey Choplin's pump out for the rest of his life. I will take care of that. I will make it happen. All right, so now we will move into ordinances for second reading. We have, this is our intergovernmental agreement, which is also in your packet related to the South Carolina New Local Revenue Services. Councilmember Baumgartner, do you have that motion? Maybe?
I believe that I do. One second, make sure I've got the right one.
Sure.
Yes, okay. Making sure I've got so many in front of me. All right. I move to consider ordinance O-03-23 to approve the intergovernmental agreement relating to South Carolina's new local revenue services. That's my motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Rick Floyd. And again, this is more of like the cleaning up for the names part, right?
That's
Yeah.
correct. This is clean. This is because the state has changed the business licenses process and the names of some of those things. We're just having to go through and clean up some of this. The municipal association is rebranding some of this, so we're simply following suit with them.
Any other further discussion?
Since I wasn't here last month, is there any pertinent conversation that I missed regarding the first reading of this?
Okay, all in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Now we'll move into our committee reports, and I know we have some guests here tonight. We usually have committee before our council member, and so our council meeting for tonight, so this is mostly a summary of what we've already discussed. First, we'll start with Public Works Committee, which is Sherry's kind of holding down the fort for this committee. Sherry, if you want to give us your summary of what we discussed last time.
The Public Works Committee met May 8th and discussed the April Works report. Director Tate noted the following items. The city received the Partner of the Year award from Enery Career Center. The city's landscape contractor, Sod Father, will be doing the landscape work and planting the new flowers along the main street. There was a discussion around the discontinuation of the recycling program and next steps. Additional shade options at the Adventure Park was also discussed amongst the committee.
Thank you for that. Public Safety Committee, Chair Byers.
The Public Safety Committee met on May 8th and reviewed the April public safety reports. The Chief Ford responded to questions from council regarding the increase in motor vehicle accidents, noting it's likely due to increased speeding and aggressive driving. Administrator Vinson reviewed and discussed the Mutual Law Enforcement Aid Agreement with Furman University. This agreement is for the City of Travelers Rest Police Department to provide police aid to the Vinings apartments on Duncan Chapel, as Furman is discontinuing police protection service to that area.
Kelly. Next, we'll have Planning and Development.
I'm Vice Chair.
Okay. All right, Grant, thank you.
The Planning and Development Committee met on May 8th and discussed the April Planning and Development Report. Director Foreman noted the following items. The Swamp Rabbit Trail data was reviewed and will continue to be on the Planning and Development Monthly Report moving forward. The South Carolina Planning Association held their spring conference at City Hall. It was a successful conference. And the third thing, Director Foreman introduced Haley Hopkins, the Planning and Development Summer Fellow. Haley graduated recently from Furman University with a degree in Sustainability Science. She will begin her 6-week internship on June 5. That ends my report.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Ways and Means Committee, Chair Baumgartner.
The Ways and Means Committee met on May 15th. This was a different day than the rest of the committee that actually was just this Monday of this week, to discuss the city's fiscal year 2024 budget update and approve previous month's minutes. That ends my report. I do move, though, to approve the monthly financial report for April as presented.
Okay, you've heard that motion for April financials from Grant. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you for Rick Floyd, second. Do we have any questions, or Eric, any things to note that you didn't already relay in our email?
No, just the summary provided in the email, and we'll get a little bit more, I guess, a more detailed update here in a moment for last year's annual financials as well, so.
Any further discussion? All right, all in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, now we will start our ordinances and resolutions for first reading. Again, it's budget night, so we'll go through these individually, and appreciate Grant for kicking us off with first reading for a general budget.
That's right. I move to consider ordinance O-04-23 to adopt the City of Travelers Rest fiscal year 2024 general fund budget by making appropriations levying taxes and fees for the fiscal year beginning June 1st, 2023, and ending June 30th, 2024, to provide for budget control of said appropriations by the Travelers Rest City Council and such other matters related thereto, effective July 1, 2023. There is hereby levied upon the taxable property within the city limits of Travelers Rest, South Carolina, for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2023, and ending June 30, 2024, as ad valorem tax of 83.9 on every dollar assessed valuation, combined with other anticipated revenue accruing to the city of Travelers Rest, shall be sufficient to produce $7,968,589 in revenues. In addition, the incorporated rate fee schedule is approved and fully set forth as part of the ordinance unless otherwise amended by City Council, and the incorporated capital improvement plan is approved and set forth verbatim as part of the ordinance unless otherwise amended by the City Council. My motion.
All right, you've heard Grant's long motion. Do we have a second?
I just wanted to mention that what was brought up at committee was the addition of the fire alarm fee into the fee schedule. It will be in the packet for second reading.
Okay,
did
great.
not
So
make
it's
it in
not
this
in
packet.
here. All right.
Yeah,
Did
but
you
I'll-
also, the council fee too, for like when we,
And the council fee
That
for the adjustment,
filing.
if we adjust, once we know
Okay, then
what that
that'll go in
adjustment will
there.
be, I will
Okay.
go back and make that adjustment in the fee schedule as well.
Great,
So
great.
those two will be adjusted
okay.
prior to second reading.
All right, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Kelly Byers with a second. We'll open it up for discussion. Grant, you want to give us a summary?
I'll give this a little bit of review. I stated the other day at our Ways and Means Committee meeting, I want to reiterate this evening, the Ways and Means Committee is presenting to council a completely balanced budget for fiscal year 2023 through 2024. There is no tax increase, no increase in city service fees, and no transfer from our cash reserve account. Some of our budget highlights include a conservative increase in our revenues as they continue to recover and strengthen since the COVID time. We are also replacing several vehicles, either because they have served their effective use or in a few cases, an increase in employee positions are demanding that we purchase another vehicle. We are entering into an agreement with North Greenville University to provide dispatch service for them. That agreement also allows us to purchase a new updated police dispatch console. Our arrangement will not mean any of our fire or police staff or vehicles will be patrolling or answering service calls there. Just radio dispatch functions only we will be providing. This budget continues to allow us to upgrade and update both fire department and police department equipment, as well as adding personnel to the fire department, a new dispatcher, and a public works person. We also included an across-the-board salary cost of living increase and a merit increase where deserved. We made few adjustments to our rate fee schedule, mainly removing language and fees associated with the previous sewer system. We are also adopting our capital improvement program, which is a roadmap for future projects or equipment we may want or need to undertake and use in the future. It really gives us, the council, an ability to look forward to the future and begin planning for those funding for projects that we might need to do. Concerning our citywide residential curbside recycling program, here's where we stand at this point. Our current sanitation contract held by Greater Greenville does not have a condition for them to pick up our recycling, and the city has been notified that Greater Greenville will end the program June 30th, 2023. Our city staff has exhausted all other possibilities and options looking for an alternative for our curbside pickup. The city is not able to find a way to accommodate the cost of continuing a curbside recycling program into the current budget without passing a significant fee or tax increase onto all the residents of TR. This council believes at this point that we agree that passing on another fee or tax increase to the residents is not a workable solution. Let me be painfully clear about this. The city is not discontinuing recycling in the city, but rather the convenience of the residential curbside pickup for each household is going away. As we continue to explore options, there may be a solution where individual residences may be able to contract independently with a recycling service, but the city cannot absorb these costs. We are also working with Greenville County to increase the community recycle drop-off sites around town, and we are currently committed to provide at least one additional recycling center drop-off point in addition to the one currently in use in the Food Line parking lot. We continue to be in conversation with the county concerning the recycling program and are attempting to forge a joint plan for both city and county residents. Our current provider will pick up their blue carts at the residences beginning in July. In an attempt to be very clear about this, I'm saying again, the city is not discontinuing the recycling program. The city, in fact, continues to support all community recycling efforts. Recycling in the city will simply be different starting in July. That ends my recap.
Thank you for that, Grant. All right, opening up to council for further discussion. Any questions or items discussed regarding the general fund budget?
Thank you, Eric and Grant, for working so hard on it. It's great.
And just as a reminder, so the Ways and Means Committee presents this to council tonight for first reading. We have a whole month to, continue to weigh our options and think through things, and then it'll come forward again in June for second reading. And we'll have Lisa and Shanice and Brantley to vote on it as well. Okay. All right, all in favor? Motion carries, thank you. Next, we'll move into local hospitality tax and accommodations tax fund.
I move to consider ordinance O-05-23 to adopt the City of Travelers Rest fiscal year 2024 before council relating to the fiscal affairs of the local hospitality and local accommodations tax funds of the City of Travelers Rest, making appropriations therefore, and to provide the budget control of said appropriations by the Travelers Rest City Council, and for such other matters related therefore, effectively June 1, 2023, and ending June 30, 2024.
Heard that motion. We have a second.
Second.
Okay, thank you for that second. Right, Floyd? You have a summary for this as well, Grant?
I will be glad to give you a summary. Both H-tax and A-tax funds are restricted funds, meaning these funds can only be spent on specific state-defined specific expenses and are not put directly into our general fund except where allowed due to expense allocation. The H-tax, the hospitality tax budget, shows dipping into the 1.1 million fund balance, $132,300. The accommodations tax will actually increase the reserve fund being close to $336,000. It will increase approximately $3,300.
Any further discussion regarding the local hospitality and accommodations tax fund? All right, all in favor? Carries, thank you. Next, Victims Advocate Fund budget.
I move to consider ordinance O-06-23 to adopt the City of Travelers Rest fiscal year 2024 before council relating to the fiscal affairs of the Victims Advocate Fund of the City of Travelers Rest, making appropriations therefore, and to provide the budget control of said appropriations by the Travelers Rest City Council and such other matters related therefore, effective July 1, 2023 and ending June 30, 2024.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Kelly Byers. The overview?
Would you like an overview?
I would love one.
This Victims Advocate Fund, that's hard for me to say.
It is hard.
It's a restricted fund also, and it's strictly used for assistance of those who have been the victim of a crime. We never know how this fund will be used because it's based on crimes being committed. We never know exactly what's going to go into it. However, we do have ways of assisting residences in some cases for some of their crimes. This fund is administered by our police department. That ends my review.
Further discussions on Victims Advocate Fund budget? All in favor? Carries. Thank you. This is one of our newer ones regarding our tree mitigation fund.
I move to consider ordinance O-07-23 to adopt the City of Travelers Rest fiscal year 2024 before council relating to the fiscal affairs of the Tree Mitigation Fund of the City of Travelers Rest, making appropriations therefore, and to provide the budget control of said appropriations by the Travelers Rest City Council, and such other matters related therefore effective July 1, 2023 and ending June 30, 2024.
Heard that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Rick Floyd. Any further discussion?
I have a question, Mayor. It says that in our notes here that include a total of $77,850 in expenditures to purchase new trees, tree replacement, tree care, and maintenance activities and operations. Can we broaden that to include plants and shrubbery, or is it just strictly trees?
I think the ordinance restricts it just to trees, but we can use it for mulching of beds that have trees in them. So it can be used for mulching, fertilizer, maintenance of our landscape beds if they have a tree in it.
Okay, so a tree is, like vertical, not like tall bushes and shrubbery.
That's right, yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I will give us a brief overview on this for those that don't know. This fund was just created by ordinance in 2022, and it's about saving and maintaining our trees balanced with land development within the city. This is the first budget cycle. We've never gone through this, so thank you, Wayne, we're just going to need some clarification on how this works. There is already a carryover balance that we've collected in the amount of $174,000 that were going into it, and we're expecting an additional revenue of somewhere around $50,000 this coming year. The budget allows us to reimburse ourselves for the administration of the program, like watering, replacing trees, just as what Wayne is saying, and it's establishing some maintenance programs for several of the areas around the city also. But I will agree, we'll probably need to look and make sure that we've got that defined correctly, Eric, that it is just vertical trees and not shrubbery.
Further discussion? Thank you. I think this would be a good one. We spent a lot of time talking about trees last year, so it's nice to kind of see the action that's going to come
Well,
afterwards.
and $175,000 in
That's a
carryover
lot, yeah.
balances, that shows that, well, I've said this before, we should have put this in place a long time ago, but we just missed it.
Started it. All right, all in favor? Motion carries, thank you. All right, last one, this is regarding our general obligation bond.
I move to consider ordinance O-08-23 to adopt the City of Travelers Rest fiscal year 2024 before council relating to the fiscal affairs of the general obligation bond of the City of Travelers Rest, making appropriations therefore and not to exceed $126,000 on behalf of the Travelers Rest City Council and such other matters related therefore effectively July 1, 2023 and ending June 30, 2024.
Okay, you've heard that motion. We have a second.
Second.
Second by Sherry. You have a summary for us for this as well?
The GO bond is what we issued, what the city issued for part of the financing of our city hall complex we're in right here. It's a yearly renewable bond, and this is just a yearly formality that we have to go through to renew it. The nice thing is that, as I said, it's only $126,000, so we are definitely working it down.
Do we know how much longer we have?
I think this is the last year on this one, isn't it?
No, we will, yeah, one rolled off this year, and I do not recall how many more years we have on the other one here, but I can get back with
Oh,
council
that's
on
okay,
that.
yeah, all right. I know we have that schedule I can look back on.
We've been over here long enough in this building,
It
it's
feels like
starting
a while, yeah.
starting to work through it.
Any other discussion regarding the general obligation bonds? All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, Grant and Eric. First reading, done. So thank you for that. Old business, we have none. New business, we have accommodations tax funding recommendations.
I believe you all have in front of you forms that we just printed tonight showing that we had 3 applications into our state accommodations fund account. We have a separate board committee that meets and looks over these applications. The committee did meet and they approved these 3, which are one for the City of Travelers Rest for our Browse and Stroll Art Market, another one for the City of Travelers Rest for the Farmers Market Music Program, and one to the Ville de Ville Foundation for their relay that comes to town. Eric, would you like to give maybe a little broader information on what those might be?
Yep, just real quick, one by one. Ville de Ville Relay is a regional race from Greenville to Asheville, and they come through the City of Travelers Rest. They bring a lot of tourism to the city. We've received good reports from business owners downtown about that as far as the amount of business it brings to town. So that's one, I believe, is going on its 4th year now that it's been handled and been funded. The other one is a city event that we started about 3 years ago and is growing, is the Browse and Stroll Art Market, which is a Saturday art market downtown. And that one has become very successful, and we actually have a waiting list for vendors that want to participate in that one. So there's a lot of interest, and that will continue to grow and flourish. The final one is the city has started to assist and sponsor the farmers market since their inception, and they've applied every year for assistance. And this application, the last couple of years, we've assisted with this grant funding to help sponsor the music that they have at the farmers market. So the funding that the state ATAX is going to help offset their costs for the music series.
This has already come out of committee. Ways and Means has already approved this. We're just sending it on for approval here on full council.
And just for our guest information, we have a separate committee that makes these recommendations for how to spend this money. Goes to Ways and Means, and those consist of business owners and, I don't know, it has a whole specific group, an arts element to it, just to make sure we have a good variety of point of views for how this money is spent.
Might be worth noting that that board member does not have to be city residents. It can be.
Yeah, they kind of fall underneath that, which is nice for a business owner because they can't
That's right.
technically be on a lot of our committees if they don't live in the city. All right, great. All right, was that a formal motion?
I will move to accept the ATAX applications as presented.
All right, you've heard that motion. We have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you for that. We got a second from Wayne McCall. All right, all in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, last we have our annual audit presentation by Todd Highsmith. Welcome. I don't know if anybody else is more empathetic to the budget process than you, so Todd is our auditor and therefore a very important person. So we appreciate you being here tonight and giving us a little summary of our last fiscal year.
Thank you. It will be a little summary. Just once again, thanks for allowing us to work with working in your hometown, so to speak. Thanks for your patience in the audit that everyone's had. The delays. I spoke with Mr. Benson, and I think we're scheduled this year. Getting here into turning over to page 1 in the thicker report, the financial statement report. This is the independent auditor's report. This is really what's most important in the financial statement. The format's it's our pleasure to say that after our audit work, these financial statements are fairly presented. It's just a good report. A few numbers, in the rest of the report, and then I'll be happy to take questions. Page 13, far right-hand column is the total column for the city. The total assets at the end of June 30th, 2022 was $25,751,000. $5,665,000. Without that net pension liability right above that, the liabilities were $10,800,000 for the city. Our total net position for the city was $11,113,167. Of which $7.7 million is in capital assets, net of depreciation and related debt. And then we've got some money restricted for capital projects, recreation and tourism, and other purposes. And then we have an unrestricted deficit overall of $1,910,000, and that still goes back to the adoption of the net pension liability a few years ago. On page 14 is a statement of activities, an income statement, if you will. Just one number to look at on this page. It's in the far right-hand column, the total column. But if you start a number up on the bottom, the change in net position. This is an increase this year of $2,516,616, of which $385,754 relates to sewer, $2,130,761 relates to general fund. I like to look at the general fund. That's what everyone looks at when they look at the municipality. The total assets of the general fund were $6,225,422. The total liabilities were $744,851. We had a total fund balance of $5,480,571, of which $3,567,677 was unassigned, and it's unrestricted and can be spent at council's discretion.
Mind if I interrupt you real quick there? For the unassigned, what's still the magical amount that you want to have in that? Has that changed since the last audit?
No, there's, on page 4, we look at that, and right now that balance is 88% of your annual general fund expenditures.
Okay.
So you're in a good position for the general fund.
Okay, great. That's like our cash reserve in case we
Yes.
have something crazy happen or, yeah.
Percentage-wise, what percentage-wise is the reserve fund right now?
The reserve fund,
40%, 30%?
I can't remember what the reserve fund is.
Yeah.
And our cash accounts, I know it's up
It's in range, I guess. You know what I'm asking you about? I mean,
there. Yes, sir.
right.
Yes, sir. It's not, it's
Okay. All right.
I'll say it that way.
We're fiscally conservative.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I
No,
just,
you're
yeah.
fine. Interrupted anytime. On page 17, it's the general fund revenues and expenses. Our total revenues for the year were $7,300,094. Our total expenditures were $6,374,000 for the year. We had an increase in our general fund balance of $1,561,979. We had an increase in our general fund. Nothing changed really this year. There was nothing new adopted or anything as it pertains to the city. Some good information in there, so if you're looking through them, one night when you can't sleep, if you have a question, just give me a call the next day. So, the next thing I'm gonna look at, just real briefly, is how the general fund did against its budget for the year. That's on page 53. The first line I'm gonna look at is total revenue. As I mentioned, it was $7,300,094 against a budget of $5,758,153. So we were over budget by $1,541,941. Now, some of that was due to the ARPA $100,165 against budgeted expenditures of $6,233,653. We beat our budget by $10,488 in overall expenditures. So we were
And going back to the total revenue number, variance of the 1.5 million, you mentioned the ARPA, and that's something where we put it, we're spending some of that money this
Yes.
year. So it's not like, oh, we made
No, no,
1.5 million,
no,
we're
no.
gonna use that money in a different budget. Okay,
This money is going to be used, most of the powers received it in, and
right.
and so most of them are spending it.
Great.
You're
Because
right.
our difference last year was like, what, 300 or 400? So I wouldn't want people to be like, oh, the city
Yes.
just has 1.5 million.
That's
It's,
why I mentioned
yeah,
the ARPA money of 1.3
Right.
million was kind of
right. It doesn't happen
it doesn't
often,
happen
yeah.
every year.
Yeah. Right.
The other report you have, it's just basically how our interactions with the planning team. We didn't have any disagreements or issues with the management of the city of Charlotte. The staff did a great job. So I'm open to any questions that you may have.
I'm curious, say you did have a problem with them. How are you going to tell us that they were
Well-
horrible to work with?
No, if we have a problem with management,
I bet, yeah.
doing my audit,
Okay,
and then we have a discussion on what happened and issues. And so I just let the council know, or board know, what happened.
okay,
Now, if we see something like fraud or something like that, then we notify you guys immediately. We first notify Mr. Benson if it's not Mr. Benson.
sure, yeah.
And then we proceed from there up to council to.
Right. Thank you.
It's our house, so there's nothing unusual.
Yeah.
With the city.
No, I was just
Everything
curious,
was
like,
fine.
yeah, we do a good job. And we do have outside bookkeepers that are separate from you,
Right.
which
that are
gives that
separate
nice
from us.
balance,
It
yeah.
gives an oversight of it, and, so we're looking forward to working with them.
Great.
And would it be safe to say that here we are in May, looking at what ended in January, it ended in December, but with the change in accounting firms and the change in those accounting practices, it's just simply taken you a little while to get everything back where you needed to be to efficiently do
Yes,
what
sir.
you need to do.
It did, there was a learning curve. Mid to late February from them after they caught everything up for the first, highly of that group over there. We share a
Good.
lot of clients. My goal is I want to present this thing in
I think they had some software changes too, which is always like another added layer to
November.
it.
It's always an add later. We went from
Hmm.
and that added another complexity in the.
Well, thank you for sticking with it to
Oh,
help us out. I appreciate
It's
that.
our pleasure.
Any other questions from council? I know this is like a thorn in your side, but remind me about the net pension liability. Does it change every year? Is it?
Changes every year
Okay,
based on
it's just like-
actuarial assumptions.
That's right, okay.
So the state, South Carolina Retirement System,
Is there going to be a day where we have to pay $3 million? It's an accounting piece to it.
If you have to pay that $3 million,
I know, yeah, yeah.
really good
Okay,
problems.
yeah. And it's not, it's all municipalities have this
Yes,
sitting on
every
their books, yeah.
municipality has to do it. The small
Okay, great. Any other questions or thoughts?
Thank you.
Thank you. We always appreciate you, Todd, and it's nice to have you local and taking care of us, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you to our staff, too. I know that's a lot of legwork that you guys do during audit season, so, yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay. Miscellaneous matters, our administrative update. Eric, you
Just
got
a
anything?
few items for council this evening, and you'll be learning and hearing more about these at committee next month. I did want to mention that we were notified recently, and I'd like to, thank Mike Foreman. He applied for $18,000 grant for us to use for our tree program from the U.S. Forest Service, I believe is who that's from. Is that U.S. Forest? So we were notified recently that we received $18,000 grant, and that will go to do a tree inventory, a citywide tree inventory of public trees that we're responsible for. That will help be a basis for our tree care program, and it will also help fund some tree maintenance activities as well. As far as Trailblazer Park Playground, we're working on some communications. There will be a news story tomorrow, I believe, interview tomorrow, and there will also, we've met with the county and having some ongoing discussions about project completion. Anticipated completion is, we're looking at, the next 3 weeks, definitely by the beginning of June, landscaping will be installed. The other components will be installed. There was a little delay on the shade structure. The shade structure that we initially ordered was, I think it was back ordered, and there was an issue that came up. So the county reached out and provided another option for us, which is actually a better option. It's a larger shade structure, and it's square as opposed to triangle. And so it fits those pads a little bit better. And so since they have to order that new one, they're going to go ahead and order the additional ones that we're budgeting for this year, so we'll get all 3 at the same time. So we're just working through that project management to make sure, we'll see if we can get those extra concrete pads poured in time for those. TR Adventure Guide, that was a ATAX funded project, and it's currently been printed and is going to be distributed to local hotels, Airbnbs, and local businesses, and we'll have some here at City Hall. That's a neat adventure guide. That's a season, it's organized by season, so it's great for people that live here. It's also great for people that visit our city. We can explain, neat things to do inside the city, and also things that are close around the city to provide a great tourism resource. And Amanda has organized a orientation for our election commission, and we'll have that next Wednesday. So we're going to sit down with our new election commission and go over an orientation so that they're ready to go come election season.
And I'm assuming for the Trailblazer Park, we'll have a party and grand opening and ribbon
We
cutting
will.
and all
That's
that
right.
fun stuff. Good.
That is correct. Once we have a little more clarity and we coordinate with Greenville County and celebrate together, we'll have a ribbon cutting and try to do that soon after the playground is officially open.
People are getting excited. I think it's
They
been
are,
cut a couple
yeah.
times already.
I think we had a couple of
We can't
people
help
jump the
it.
gun and go on the playground and start playing, but
Yeah.
we're monitoring that, and we're excited, and it's going to be a neat addition to the city.
Good, good. And on the TR Adventure Guide, that's a really cool idea from one of our local residents. And then Beth has worked so hard on putting it together. She should be able to pick it up and do all the free fun things, not, like you said, not only for TR, but all over parks and fun stuff. So
You did a wonderful job
did a
putting
great
that
job.
together, yes.
I had 2 miscellaneous things just to let council know that Eric and Beth are working on good communications about the recycling transition, what to do if you're going to keep your bin, all that fun stuff, and then making sure we work through the kinks with Evergreen. And you guys have invited them to a couple different events, and so they're working on it. So hopefully we can let everybody know, reinforce communication in the next couple days.
They'll actually be at every farmer's market throughout the month of June.
Oh, that's great.
So they're going to be there for every farmer's market, and they're creating a landing page for our residents so that once that's set up and going, we'll be able to direct everybody to a streamlined landing page that's dedicated to the City of Travelers Rest residents.
That was a great idea from council to invite them to the farmer's market. And then just wanted to brag a little bit on Philip Tate. So last night we went to the Enery Career Center completion ceremony, which was really exciting. And Philip was inducted into the Wall of Fame at Enery as one of their people. So very cool, yeah. He got a plaque and they embarrassed him in front of everyone. It was great. He didn't know it was a surprise, so it was very, very special. And they actually gave us a very nice plaque as well in recognition of just our support of the Energy Career Center and letting them use the space, which was part for Philip because he's on the SI committee. So it was a really nice event. They had tons of students, and apparently what's on trend is platform high heels and cowboy boots, in case anybody needs to know what's up in the high school world. But it was really, really special, so appreciate that.
Well attended also.
I
There were
mean,
lot
it
of
was like
people
a
here.
music night. Like, there was that many people there, and they had been confined with some space issues, so it was just nice. And heard a lot of people say, because they're from like Berea and Wade Hampton and kind of all over, and they were like, we didn't know this park was here. And, you know, so it was a good tourist attraction for us as well. All right, does anybody else on council have anything for the good of council?
Well, you know, to just kind of reiterate what you're talking about there, we're very fortunate in the fact that in the school system here of having local administrators like Daniel Bruce at the high school. And for those of you that don't know, Greg Cook, who is from Traverse Rest as well, is the director at Energy Career Center.
Yeah.
And so that speaks volumes, I think, for our community to have, you know, have our.
And if you guys don't know,
administrators.
NRE does, Rick and I were trying to list all the things: welding, heating and air, automotive, marketing, cosmetology,
Fire,
police.
police.
Yeah, they were both out there.
Culinary arts.
Yeah, I mean, they just have everything there, and a lot of those kids were able to go get a job tomorrow, which was really great.
And tell them about Alex real quick, Greg. He was the student of the year, some,
He was a work-based student of the year for Greenville County. That's what I went to the ceremony. That's why I missed the last council meeting. Actually, he was nominated by the state.
Cool.
and Alex is a young man that interned with Greg.
Mm-hmm, fire department.
And his dad is the assistant director at NRA, so.
Kelly, did you have anything?
Oh, yeah. On Saturday, there's a trash pickup hosted by the TR Chamber, I think from 8:30. Treat yourself to the browse and stroll after. Yeah.
Win-win. Anybody else have anything for the good of council? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second? All right, thank you, Grant and Rick. All right, I appreciate our guests for coming tonight. Thank you again. All right. Good job, Grant. Thank you.